All right, Shabbat Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to start off this lesson by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone rule well, and have taught me this word in truth and sincerity. All right, and peace and mercy to the whole full elect. Shout out to the 124,000. All right. That's teaching this word in truth and sincerity across the full course of the earth, okay? As well as the speckled birds out there that are the hopeful elect. Peace and mercy to you in the household. So, in today's class is going to be another edition of Doomsday Prophecies. And the title I have here, given to me by the Holy Spirit, here is Many Will Be Fooled by This Devil. Okay? Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Yeah, you're good. We're live.
All right.
But yeah, like I was saying, the title here, Many Will Be Fooled by This Devil. Right? And obviously the devil that I'm referring to is Esau Edom. Okay? The biblical nationality, all right, of the self-proclaimed white man or Caucasian. All right? Now, not every person that looks like a so-called white man is a biblical Edomite. All right? You have our people mixed up in the race of Esau and all the other heathens, all right, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So now I got a series of clips that I want to play concerning this topic, okay, going into, what this devil is up to. Actually, before I get this, I want to actually bring out this precept real quick because, it's all about, is it 2 to 11? Yeah. It's all about being aware of the deception of this devil, okay? Of these devils. Because that's their blessing. Their blessing is both the sword and their tongue, their speech. Okay. And the top ruling elites of these of the Edomites, okay, have been able to tap into the left hand side, all right, receive power from demons or spirits on the left hand side, Satan himself, okay, just like we receive strength and power from Yahweh Shai. These top ruling elites have been able to receive power from Satan to rule. That's why when you go into Job 9:24, it tells you that the world is given to the hand of the wicked. The Most High gave the world into the hand of the wicked. Okay? So this is, and I guess I'll get it into NLT. This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. It says, so that Satan will not outsmart us, right? For we are familiar with his evil schemes. And that's what we're going to highlight is, as we always do, okay, the evil schemes of Satan through his physical counterpart, Esau Edom, the top wicked elite, all right, through what I like to coin and call them, there's his stooges, all right, that are throughout the four corners of the earth. And I'm going to get into what that word stooge is. I brought it out a couple times. Well, I'm going to bring it out again here in chat. But he'll use these guys and to use psyops and witchcraft and enchantments, all right, to herd along the people into NWO, New World Order, by the way of the MOTB. That's what he's doing, all right. So, with that being said, let's go into stooges, and then I know Malak, you have a precept that we'll get these clips out. So here, as you can see, I asked chat, what's a stooge, right? So it said, a stooge is someone who serves as a tool, puppet, or subordinate for someone else, often doing the dirty work or following orders without question. Here are the main meanings depending on context. It says the general meaning, a stooge is a person who is used by someone more powerful, okay? Like a front man. So President Trump, guess what? He's a stooge, right? He's a front man. He's a face, all right, of the United States. but he
Mm-hmm.
works,
That's
all
right.
right, for higher up elites. So a lot of these politicians and technocrats, they don't actually have the full scope, all right, of what they're involved in. See, the hopeful elect, shout out to the 144,000 via the Holy Spirit, we have the full scope, all right, of what's transpiring, what has happened, and what is to come. The full scope. Okay. So it says like a front man, pawn or fluky. Okay. Example, the corrupt leader surrounded himself with stooges who did whatever he said. Okay. So
That's
the
right. That's
second
right.
meaning is a comedy meaning, right? The comedy meaning. This is my favorite definition. And it says
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
old slapstick comedy like The Three
Ah, yeah.
Stooges, a stooge is a comedian who plays the fool, okay, or the one who gets the jokes played on them. You see, so there's two kinds of stooges. All right, so these guys, all right, that work for the top wicked elite, they are also stooges. But those of you, all right, and I'm talking to 2/3 of Israel, all right, those of you, all right, that will be beguiled by the wicked schemes of these devils, all right, you are also stooges because a stooge is an assistant to a comedian, okay? It's also a stooge is also an assistant to a comedian. The comedian would be the top wicked elite. The stooges would be these people, your entertainers, your athletes, your politicians, technocrats, presidents, and so on
Ah,
and so forth, right? Those would be the stooges, and the joke is being played upon you people, the American people, the world at large, and first and foremost, all right, you rebellious Israelites. Okay, as it says, a stooge is a comedian who plays the fool or the one who gets the joke played on them. Okay,
Woo. Woo.
political
Straight.
or social
Straight.
meaning. A stooge can refer to someone who pretends to be independent but secretly serves another agenda. For an example, the official is just a stooge for corrupt interests, for corporate interests, right? So then I further asked Chat, um,
Mm-hmm.
to basically to parallel modern day stooges with the global elite, and this is what Chat had to say. So it said, in modern terms, the word stooge fits well when you are talking about people who knowingly or unknowingly, you see,
Knowingly,
and this is why I say
beautiful.
not everybody that's a Freemason, all right, or an Illuminist actually knows or actually has the full scope of what they're involved in. Okay, because a stooge can be someone who's aware of it and someone who's
Beautiful.
unaware of it,
Beautiful.
right? Just like control opposition. You have people who are control opposition. It just means they're being controlled. Sometimes they're aware that they're being controlled and they are
Told.
a
Told.
willing stooge, right? And then other times they're not aware that they're being controlled for Luciferian purposes, all right, at the highest order. And they're unwillingly being opposition. They're unknowingly, sorry, being opposition, but they're still being controlled. So it goes either way. So it says knowingly or unknowingly serve the interests of higher powers, especially those who control money, policy, or media influence. Here's how the idea often plays out. Celebrities and entertainers can act as stooges when they promote certain world views, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Trends or messages that keep people distracted. And what we're seeing, what we're going to get into in these clips that I got, is you're going to see these devils portray a narrative of an attack on Christianity, which we like to call plantation
Mm-hmm.
Christianity. Okay, that's the Christianity of today is plantation Christianity, and really, when you go a little bit deeper, it's really just Luciferianism. Right? They're actually worshiping Satan. You Christians, you wacky
That's
tacky
right.
Christians, are
That's
actually
right.
worshiping Satan. You just
Whether
don't
you know
know
or
that.
not. Whether you know
Okay,
or not.
whether you know it or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, right? So continue on, it says trends, or yeah, what I was going to say is
Beautiful.
that
Beautiful.
you're seeing that Esau is playing a narrative that is an attack on Christianity. The true Christians are really the followers of Yahushua. Okay, so it says, um, Messages that keep people distracted, complacent, or morally dulled, steering attention away from truth or justice. Technocrats and scientists can be stooges when they push technology or data policies that ultimately strengthens surveillance control or dependence on global systems. Politicians and economists can be stooges when they serve corporate or banking elites instead of people they claim to represent, instead of the people they claim to represent. So to conclude the matter, okay? So to
Take your
conclude the
time.
matter, it says, so yes, in that sense, many of the powerful and famous today function like modern stooges of the global elite, echoing the same patterns we see throughout history. Pharaohs and their magicians, Nebuchadnezzar and his astrologers, you see, Herod and his uh, courtiers. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
nothing's new under the sun. That which is then is now. Okay,
No.
simply put,
Courtiers.
or even false prophets under Ahab. You see, they were stooges to Ahab, right? Or even false prophets under Ahab. Yeah, because Ahab the king, he had those prophets that would just tell him whatever he would like to hear. You
Mm-hmm.
see, and then you had the one prophet, I think Micah or Micah. He told King Ahab didn't like him because all he ever told was the truth, whether he liked it or not, whether the king liked it or not. Okay, so you have that example as well. It says all tools used to maintain control over the people. All right. So just wanted to read that, preface that, so you can get
Straight.
a little bit more insight on what we're gonna bring out today in this lesson and the videos that we'll play. But that's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You got it, Malak, and then we'll get those clips.
Beautiful. I'm going to go to the book of Wisdom of Solomon. 13th chapter. 13th chapter.
Oh, we're gonna have to hold that.
I'm going to read
We'll get back to that.
Hold that. Hold that.
Yeah, we'll get back to that.
In
Well,
that case,
where you gonna read from?
no. We'll hold it. In that
Okay.
case, I'm going to go to Sirach and
Fine.
19 and 22.
GNT or GNT or KJV.
Actually, I'm going to read it from the KJV. One verse. And so it says, the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom.
Mm.
Neither at any time the counsel of sinners prudence. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
never. This is the truth. The knowledge of wickedness. It's never the truth of the Lord on the right hand side, so to speak. Let me be clear.
Salake, you cut out. You might have to say that again. At least it sounded like you cut out.
I'm getting a little echo. But it's all good. I'll just read the precept again.
How about now?
Check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, beautiful. No echo now. Yes,
right.
Sirach 1922. The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, neither at any time the counsel of sinners prudence. You see? So yeah, it's never the truth, man. There's no way you can twist this. And this is their truth. This is Satan's truth in regards to what we're going into here, how he believes, and it's exposed.
That's
Okay,
right.
the knowledge of
That's
wickedness. Right. Okay, you stooges. You
right.
stooges. You're all stooges for Yahweh Hashem Shai on the left hand side. Let me be clear. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Yep. And another point as well with this verse, another reason why the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom is because when you go into the knowledge of wickedness, it doesn't teach you to fear the Lord and to be obedient to the Most High, Yahweh. what it does is it teaches you that you could be on par with the Most High, that you could be a God yourself. That's what the serpent told Eve, and that's where all this knowledge, all right, of wickedness stems from what the serpent was beguiling Eve with. Okay, because he said, and we're going to get that later. We'll bring that out later, but that's really where its roots stem from. Okay, um, and also let me read verse 23. It says, "There is a wickedness and the same and an abomination, right? And there is a fool wanting in wisdom," and that's these Edomites and you rebellious Israelites. You're like fools wanting in wisdom. Why? Because you rebel and reject the way to receive wisdom, especially as an Israelite. All right, Esau Edom is set up for the left hand side anyway, so he's doing what he's created to do. All right, and yes, of course, two-thirds are doing what they're created to do in the sense of the movie and the purpose of the Most High, but that doesn't expel them from judgment because you were also created as the righteous. Okay, so in want of wisdom, you took a shortcut. All right, you sold your soul. Okay, and now you're dallied with the left hand side and left hand practices, and like the scriptures say, you pierce yourself with many sorrows. Okay, so I'll read it again. It says, "There is a wickedness and the same an ambition and an abomination. There is a fool wanting in wisdom," right? "He that has small understanding and feareth the Lord, Yahweh, Bashem Yahshai, is better than one that has much wisdom." You see? And this is why the elect are starting with 144,000 are the last thing that people are considering, all right, to be the sons of God, all right, the ones with the truth, because we're you see the whole elect, they boast their faith or they boast their wisdom and understanding in fearing the Lord. Where this world that we're in, this present rulership, it's about rebelling against the Lord. It's about fearing no God, right? It's about doing whatever you do as thou wilt, right? So it says, "It's better the one that hath much wisdom." I'll read it again. "He that has small understanding and feareth Yahweh, but Hashem Yahshua, is better than one that has much wisdom and transgresses the law of the Most High." Yeah, that's right. You know, that's a lot of you Israelites, you Jakes that know that you're Israelites. Okay, you reject the simplicity in Yahweh Shai, all right, which is also the simplicity of wisdom, which is obedience. Right, and you went about trying to establish your own way of righteousness. Okay, and that's gonna lead you and everybody else that follows you, all right, into destruction. So, okay, now let's go to the first clip here, and all these clips are from Jason A. All right, as you see here, it says Russell Brand just warned America, and I'm gonna get a series of these clips, 1 minute long, just to hit the point. And so fair use, fair use, fair use. None of the channels on this panel are using any of these videos, all right, for monetization, or are we making money at all from these videos? We're just sharing these videos for educational purposes only, all right? So fair use, fair use, fair use. Oh, shoot. Let me know if you can hear the audio, okay?
Done. No, not yet. No volume. Oh.
This. Okay. Let's try this again.
Yeah, what would you say to pastors who are scared to like speak out, who are trying to walk the line because they don't want to offend either side. There's a revival happening. This isn't the time to be frightened. This is the time to no longer deny his holiness and his greatness. That not only is Jesus Christ real, the devil is real. And the devil has his hands on the levers of power. And we must be mindful of that. Technology changes the world real fast. There is an attempt to assert centralization when it's clear that decentralization is possible. Maximum sovereignty for the individual. We are made in his likeness. The human face is his hallmark and his signature. We must honor and revere and love one another, but we must refute and repudiate evil wherever we find it, and the culture is steeped in it. Be bold from the pulpit. Be bold among your congregation. That's what I'd say to the pulpits, to the pastors, even though in this instance it is hypothetical. I really got into it for a minute.
But I tried to warn you, Pope Leo is cut from the same cloth. At a time when Christians are being persecuted and slaughtered from Africa to Asia to the Middle East, Pope Leo is blessing a block of ice in the name of climate justice.
This is why I love the word stooge, because this is a big joke.
That's right. That's right.
This is one big ass joke, man. Like
It's pure entertainment.
Pure, yep. The world is
in all the wrong way. In all the wrong ways. Go ahead.
Yeah, done. Right? And all these people are watching this, enchanted by this. Like, this man has his hands on a block of ice, talking about blessing it for climate change.
How many years are we watching this?
Joining me now is Newsweek's senior editor-at-large and Article 3 Project Senior Counsel Josh Hammer. Josh, what do you make of that performance, Pope Leo engaging in the progress?
The idea that you could turn the clock back and try to
Let's start in the US, where Hillary Clinton has decried white men of a certain religion for reversing what she calls social progress.
The idea that you could turn the clock back and try to recreate a world that never was, dominated by, let's say it, white men of a certain persuasion, a certain religion, a certain point of view, a certain ideology, it's just doing such damage to what we should be aiming for. And we were on the path toward that.
There you go, Douglas. White Christian men holding back social progress.
Well, Hillary Clinton obviously believes in the myth that so many progressives do, which is that you're on a trajectory to just have more and more rights, get more and more freedom.
Okay, we're going to go from here. Yeah, we're going to go over here. Is the next clip, right? And it says the final warning from America. So this is another stooge, right? Matthew McConaughey on the importance of faith and family. So again, like I said earlier, I prefaced earlier, there's a narrative being pushed that in the midst of all these events that are taking place on earth, the violence and the sedition and all this, that, and third, right? All the perplexities, we all have to band together. We all, there's an attack on Christianity and religion. America's broken. We need to find back our faith and our Christian roots. All this stuff. It's just enchantments, okay? By repetition and stooges. Right. So let's listen to this guy here.
When we're in the middle of the chaos, we feel like it's on us and on us only, and how in the heaven or hell are we going to get out of it? Faith being something that we can on our own in the 4 a.m. solitude with ourselves, as well as in the masses in the arena of millions of people. Faith is something, the truth, that the stability that we're our head and heart connected with our spirit, where we can feel stable and go and trust ourselves. Trust that sometimes this too shall pass. Trust that I'm playing the longer game. No, we're in the immortal race. This is small stuff. This inconvenience that I'm in right now, and believe in that and understanding that helps us get through a lot of crises. And it's not tomfoolery. It's not foolish optimism. It's
letting you know, letting you know, just like the prophets have been letting you know, that we're about to enter into multiple crises. Okay, multiple crises, and your emotions are being basically set up psychologically. You're being set up, right, through enchantments, through these stooges, entertainers, and technocrats. They basically work as well. Another term for them, they serve as priests, all right? They're also priests. These guys are all Masonic, all right? They all have their different degrees in Masonry and all the different rites and clubs that they're a part of, okay? But again, like I said, not all of them are in, or not all of them have the full scope, all right, of what's really going on. So they have a narrative that they believe based upon what they were told at the level that they're at. Okay.
Straight.
It's real.
You didn't believe that you were going to get to heaven.
You're doing God's work here. You made peace in the Middle East.
This guy's voice is crazy. It's fucking crazy.
Which is beyond anybody's imagination. And now you're giving millions of Americans a chance to have babies. And you're doing this while the government is locked down by the Democrats. But this administration has not stopped working for the American people. And that's because of your energy, your commitment, your vision. And I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of it.
A Christian revival across the country. Bible sales increasing over 40% since 2022. Religion app downloads surging nearly 80%. That increase since 2019. And Christian music Spotify streams up 50% from 2019.
We haven't gotten to the more perfect union, and we fought a civil war over part of it. And people have been protesting, for hundreds of years that things were not as they should be, given our ideals and how we should be moving toward them. So I think that's what makes us so special as a country. And the idea that you could turn the clock back and try to recreate a world that never was, dominated by, let's say it, white men of a certain persuasion, a certain religion, a certain point of view, a certain ideology, it's just doing such damage to what we should be aiming for. And we were on.
Yeah, so basically, in layman terms, why are we focusing and worrying about the past and not pushing forward for a bright future ahead of us in the midst of all the turmoil that's going on in the world, right? Just like the old proverbial story of the phoenix rising out of the ashes. These top wicked elites, they see themselves as that phoenix rising out of the ashes of World War III. Okay, and now what's happening is you have these stooges who are enchantizing, right, the world, right, to unify together under one unifying light, under one religion. That's what the MOTB is going to come down to. It's going to unify everything, because now, real quick, let's get that, because that which is then is now. Okay, what you have to do is look at the scriptures and be able to see present day from prophecy and from history.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, come on. So this is Genesis 11. Okay, I'm gonna get this in NLT. Genesis 11. And I'll start from 1, right? And this is the story of Tower of Babel. So what we're witnessing right now is a technological Tower of Babel, a unification of all people under one understanding, all right? One knowledge, one God, being Lucifer, not the Most High Yahweh, and then his son Yahushua, all right, which is how it's really going to be established, okay, in the near future. So it says here, at one time,
one world order, right?
That's right. That's right. One world order. Yeah, that's right. It says Genesis 11 and 1. Actually, I might ask chat, about that real quick. Yeah, that's true. There's New World Order and there's One World Order, right? So, hey, chat, what is the One World Order? Is it a unification of religion, science, and knowledge into one? And how is that playing out today and being forwarded through technocrats and scientists, behaviorists of the sort? All right, so while that chat's thinking, we're going to go back to this precept, and then we'll come back here. So it says here in Genesis 11 and 1, at one time, all the people of the world spoke the same language, this is NLT, and used the same words. As the people migrated to the east, they found a plain in the land of Babylonia and settled there. They began saying to each other, "Let's make bricks and harden them with fire." In this region, bricks were used instead of stones, and the tar was used for mortar. They said, then they said, "Come, let us build a great city for ourselves, with a tower that reaches into the sky, because when you go into ziggurats and temples and mountains, you would always build a temple on the highest mountain because that represented the heavens, where the heavens where the heavens meet the sky, right? The spiritual realm, right? Where the temple meets the heavens. Slake, the temple would meet the heavens. So you would always want to pick the highest hill or the highest mountain to build a temple. Like when these guys get together, where do they go to again? In Sweden, in Switzerland. Where do they go to again? Davos. Right?
Davos, yeah,
Davos, right? Davos. Actually, I think it's the highest peak, the highest mountain in Switzerland, if I'm not mistaken. Someone can fact check me on that and put it in the comment board.
And then
But
the religious no, I was going to say the religious back in the day was Camp David. Yeah.
sorry.
Camp David in Israel, so to speak. So that's the highest. Religious representation on planet Earth. Right.
Camp David.
It's like the Camp David. Camp David. It's a term. You can pull it up later on.
Oh, I never heard that.
For spiritual things. The religious leaders go there.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so it says, then they said, "Come, let us build a great city for ourselves, with a tower that reaches into the sky. This will make us famous and keep us from being scattered all over the world." And according to Josephus, right, the reason of this was because the earth, they wanted to build something so that it wouldn't be flooded again, right? And that's basically what Nimrod's campaign speech was all about, right? Josephus, that's the reason. So we'll find it out in the book. It says, "This will make us famous and keep us from being scattered all over the world," right? So that's happening by the way of this one world order and via the MOTB, right? Michael C. hit. So let's go back. That's it on that. Let's just go to chat here and bring out and read what it had to say. So it says what one world order actually means. It says the term one world order or new world order, okay, so they're interchangeable, refers to a centralized global system of governance, political, economic, and ideological designed to unify nations, beliefs, and behaviors under a single coordinated authority. Yeah, Satan. Okay, basically, what's coming back into the earth is the serpent's philosophy.
Serpent knowledge. Yep.
Yeah, serpent knowledge or worshiping of the serpent. Yeah. Luciferianism, right? That's really what it is, Luciferianism. So it says it's the culmination of globalization framed as peace and unity, but often driven by control mechanisms disguised as progress. In essence, it's about global governance, political unification, global economy, digital currency, controlled trade, global ideology, shared belief systems, or universal ethics. So, and this brings into thought Project Bluebeam, okay? Because Jake had a dream recently this week about how everybody had a chip and they were all seeing one thing. He was being shot at, right? And no one was responding to him being shot at. Usually people will scatter if a gun's being shot. But in his dream, everybody that had the chip wasn't even noticed of him being shot by turrets, right? So they had the chip. They had a hologram. They were seeing an augmented reality. They weren't present. So that brings into thought Project Bluebeam. People hearing and seeing what they think is the second coming of Yahweh Shai. We know that's going to happen, right? Project Bluebeam. But those of us that have the hopeful elect, we have the eye salve, and we won't partake in the hopeful elect won't partake into the MOTB in this one world order. It says the philosophical backbone of one world order isn't necessarily religious. It's syncretic, blending many Yeah, syncretic. Syncretic.
Syncretic.
Yeah, like syncrecy. How's that word go?
That word.
It says it's syncretic, blending many beliefs, aiming to fuse religion, science, and knowledge into one universal framework of truth. Okay, so it goes on and on about how technocrats are doing this and everything, but you get the point of what a one world government is and the idea of unifying everybody under one authority, which is not Yahweh Shai, because the kingdom of heaven is the same thing. The kingdom of heaven is actually a one world order under, a unification under Yahweh Shai and the Israelites. Okay. So you got precept you want to bring up?
I got several. No. You go ahead and you go ahead and.
Okay.
You're looking for this word.
So I'm gonna bring up 3 precepts. The first one here, we're gonna go to Joel. Joel 2, because at the same time, just like the elder Yeshawamba always coins these guys as the third witness, right? Yeah, because the Most High said, right? Yahushua said, or the law, right? Under the law, you have to have 2 or 3 witnesses, right? So the first witness, the first 2 witnesses are the Southern Kingdom and Northern Kingdom, the elect among them, starting with the 144. Then you got the third witness via these Edomites, right? That are telling on themselves. So, anyways, this is Joel 2:28. It says, "And it shall come to pass, okay? It shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy," right? Which means they would have dreams. Okay, as a lot of Israelites are having dreams of prophecy, right? The destruction, the MOTD, famine, Jacob's trouble, and so much more. So it says, "Your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions, and also upon the servants, and upon the handmaids, in those days will I pour out my spirit." So the reason why I'm reading this is because there is, okay, an awakening to basically of things spiritual. There is awakening to things that are spiritual, as we're seeing a sign. We're seeing many signs in the heavens that were prophesied to happen. Blood moons, right? Solar eclipse, the chariots of the Most High. A lot of sightings of the chariots of the Most High. Spiritual entities, so angels on the left hand side and the right hand side. So a lot of spiritual things are happening, and what Esau is trying to do is he can't control what's happening, but he's trying to control the narrative of what's happening. You see, and he's using deception because he's not in control. The Most High is in control. As I just read, the Most High says he's going to pour out his spirit upon all flesh. So there is going to be a grand awakening of spirituality, but will everybody have the full scope of that grand awakening? No, only the whole elect will. Okay. So again, Esau's trying to control the narrative, right, of what's happening, but he can't control what's happening. Continuing on, it says, verse 30, "And I will show wonders in heavens and in earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke," right? That's going into the missiles, right? That's going to be a wonder, all right, on the earth. It's because that's never happened before. World war, by the way of hypersonic missiles, thermonuclear missiles, has never happened before. So that's going to be a wonder in the earth. Okay. And it says, "The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord Yahweh come." You see? Right? And it says, "And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord Yahweh shall be delivered." Right? So it says, "Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord Yahweh shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion," right, which is the government of the nation of Israel, the 144 and the rest of the elect, really the 144. That's the governing body, the prophets. And in Jerusalem shall be deliverance. And Jerusalem is a code word for, again, the elect, starting with the 144, right? Yerushalayim, teaching of peace, shall be deliverance, as the Lord Yahweh has said. And in the remnant, whom the Lord Yahweh shall call. So that deliverance in those whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord is talking about the elect. Okay? If you understand. So let's go from here and we'll go into wisdom, right? Because I talked about how the Lord has poured out his spirit upon all flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm bringing out, and the spirit constantly has me going into the full scope of things. Because with illumination, right, it's just that knowledge illuminates. So as you gain more experience and spend more time in knowledge, right, you become more illuminated in that knowledge. So
before you go, can I read this for you?
Yeah, Con, go ahead.
Daniel 12 and 10.
12 and 10.
You brought up
the
time of enlightenment.
enlightenment.
In Joel,
right?
You read the precept.
It's powerful.
Right?
So
Yep.
Simply put, Daniel 12 and 10 says, many shall be purified and made white. Speaking of the Lord's elect.
Fine.
And tried.
But the wicked,
as we read
at
one of those opening precepts there, it says, shall do wickedly.
Mm-hmm.
So they're enlightened, all right. They're going to be
They're
enlightened to continue being wicked.
Fine.
So none of the wicked shall understand. Okay, but the wise shall understand.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
See, that's the full scope of things. So none of the wicked shall understand. So even though there's a great awakening, all right, what's the, that doesn't mean that, the full truth, all right, that the Lord is looking to save everybody. So that's the narrative that's being pushed, right? Within this great awakening is that everybody's waking up to things spiritual, and they're pointing that to the narrative of the Lord is coming to save everybody. No, as as it says here in Daniel 12 and 10 at the end of it, and none of the wicked shall understand. Guess who are the wicked? It starts with Esau, Edom, but it also includes the heathens, 2/3 of Israel. Okay,
That's right.
but the wise shall understand. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Right.
That ties into
one more precept. Just because you said something there. Break down. Psalms 10 and 15. It says, break the arm of the wicked. So yes, the Lord is not coming back to save everybody. Right? This is what we're doing. Break the arm of the wicked. And the evil man seek out his wickedness till thou find none.
Yeah.
So that's their reward. Wicked.
That's right.
That's it, brother.
That's right. So this is Wisdom of Solomon in the GNT in chapter 1, verse 7 and 8. It reads, or you know what? Let me get this in the King James first.
Okay.
So, all right. So Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1, verses 7 to 8. It says here, "For the Spirit of the Lord filleth the world, right? And that which containeth all things hath knowledge of the voice." All right, which is basically the Holy Spirit. Because then what's the voice? The voice of the Most High, of the prophets. And where did the prophets get their knowledge from? The Holy Spirit, the Comforter, that Yahweh Shai said he would send to them in the latter days. Okay, so verse 8, it says, this is the point. Therefore, he that speaketh unrighteous things cannot be hid, neither shall vengeance, when it punisheth, pass by him. Okay, so because of the prophets,
Right.
there's an inquisition being made, as it says here, verse 9. For the inquisition shall be made into the council of the ungodly, and the sound of his words shall come unto the Lord, Yahweh Shai, for the manifestation of his wicked deeds. That's why it's very necessary, all right, for the prophets to be out there sighing and crying, day in and day out. Because the inquisition is being made of this devil and his rulership, all right, first and foremost by the prophets, the witnesses, all right, the first and second witness, and then you have the third witness. Okay? Now, let's go from here. And let me just read verse 10. It says, for the ear of jealousy heareth all things, and the noise of murmurings is not hid. Okay? So Most High hears everything. So let's go from here and go to Sirach. This is Sirach chapter 1 and verses 8 to 9. And I'll also read this in the GNT after. So going into the full scope of things, right? The elect having the full scope of things. It says, there is one wise and greatly to be feared, the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashim el-Shai, sitting upon his throne, right? The Lord Yahweh sitting upon his throne. And it says, verse 9, he created her being wisdom, and saw her and numbered her, right? And poured her out upon all his works. All right. So when we go into the GNT, all right, so Sirach chapter 1, verse 8 in the GNT, it says, there is one who is wise and we must stand in awe before his throne. It says, the Lord Yahweh himself created wisdom. He saw her and recognized her value. And so he filled everything he made with wisdom. And then it says, verse 10, here's the point. He gave some measure of wisdom to everyone. Okay? Because the Most High poured out, going back to the Most High pouring out his spirit upon all flesh, right? But he poured it, okay? So her out on those who love him, you see? Which is the elect. So the Most High, if you want to get a visual, an illustration, the Most High was basically just, lightly dumping wisdom, all right, to upon the earth and all his works for them to function on how he wants them to function. But when it came to the hopeful elect, starting to 144, he poured it. He dumped wisdom on them so that they would have a full scope of the devices that would enter into the earth and the wickedness and the deception, ultimately, of this devil in the latter days.
Yeah. That's right. If you love me, keep my commandments.
That's right.
And the elect is given the spirit of prophecy to receive that love.
That's right. All right, so we're going to listen to this guy here. It's the next clip. And this is Alex Jones, another stooge, okay?
Bill Hicks.
Alex Jones just gave a shocking warning, okay? So we'll go ahead and play this clip. So-called shocking. It's not shocking to the hopeful elect, man.
He's aging good, though.
Huh?
Bill Hicks. I say Bill Hicks. Allegedly Bill Hicks. It's okay, brother.
A larger question there. So,
John, let me know if you can hear this.
they say the devil's greatest trick was convincing he didn't exist. I think that's the second biggest trick. I think convincing the world that good doesn't exist is the devil's biggest trick. Yes. And so that's really.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, clear. Bubble shot.
We've all got a larger question there. So they say the devil's greatest trick was convincing the world he didn't exist. I think that's the second biggest trick. I think convincing the world that good doesn't exist is the devil's biggest trick. Yes. And so that's really what this is. We have to admit to ourselves that what we see and taste and touch and everything is a very small piece of actually what's going on. And that's that wider world. People have to, once they understand that there is this wider battle going on, then you realize, oh my God, God's real. I better choose God or I better choose the devil. But if people are kind of embedded into this and just grow up in it, and just with the corporate media and life, they get trained into the evil side, never knowing they really had a choice.
Real-time host Bill Maher has slammed the media for failing to report on the slaughter of Christians in Nigeria by Islamist groups. Joining us now is Bernard Tutunji, National Director of Aid to the
Power, and that it's all over, and we are the board.
ignored by the media.
Well, convincing us that there isn't anybody good, and that you don't have power, and that it's all over, and we are the Borg, you will be assimilated. The biggest trick is hopelessness when we're promoting truth and justice and honor, and we can't just dial into demons and fallen angels. We can also dial into God and get that message. But you first have to recognize that good and evil exist.
Yes.
And once you recognize that we are ethereal beings, that we are just manifesting ourselves in the third dimension, that all these people that are even atheists have these near-death experiences that come back with the same message. I mean, I personally in my life, have had so many times where I'm literally told something and it comes true. It just comes from God. And so I know this is real. We are a lot more complex than just what our eyes and ears, taste and touch pick up. And when you really actually study the globalists, none of them are atheists. They're into the occult.
Exactly.
And they believe they're interfacing, even at Skull and Bones. At Yale, they get in these coffins for days. They try to get these spirits to come into them. They try to channel these spirits. You've got the heads of Skull and Bones there in the last few days seeing who's able to interface with this. These are real rituals that are part of activating parts of the mind so that people can see past the veil.
Get us silent about what's happening in.
Everybody's trying to see past the veil, right? But it's only the hopeful elect that are in the holies of holies, all right, with Yahweh Shai, which is the mercy seat.
You read it. Beautiful. You read it earlier on. Fool, wisdom.
That's right. So we'll skip ahead here.
For me, it's an easy question. I really put it down to a loss of faith. It's not just the
horrific shooting in the United States. Those attacks ask you about what's
because
happening
there's
in
been
the US.
a lot of
Seeing,
shootings, right?
More
At churches, right? A lot of shootings have been at churches. So there's a lot of persecution, all right, of plantation Christians. As you see here, I think thousands of Christians, plantation Christians in Nigeria being murdered, all right? There's plantation Christian churches, all right, being shot at. So again, there's this narrative that's being stirred up. While in the midst of all this, there's a government shutdown, ISIS waging war on the northern tribe, getting ready to wage war on the southern tribe. Okay, then you got the chariots, sightings of chariots, right? Tensions between global leaders is brewing as well. So so much is going on at once. This is why we have to be. This is why the hopeful elect, man, we cling to Yahweh Shai, because that's who's gonna give us the eyesight, right, to see all the way through. Everybody that doesn't have the eyesight, they're being taken, all right, by the wiles of the devil. There's so much going on. You're being taken in every direction. Okay, so.
certainly targeting churches in the United States.
I got a precept after that. Okay. After.
According to a report, and of course that horrific shooting at a Minnesota Catholic school is just one of the latest.
Yeah, so the attacks on U.S. churches have risen significantly since 2021 reports.
Examples. What do you put this rise in attacks on churches down to in the U.S.?
For me, it's an easy question. I really put it down to a loss of faith. It's not just the USA. There have been more than 100 arson attacks on churches in France in the last 5 years. 50 years ago, the entire Western world threw off what they deemed to be the shackles of the collective Christian faith. And so now, over 2 generations later, we've moved from a society of at least a cultural faith to hatred towards faith, Christian faith anyway. But the thing is, the Christian faith, it isn't just Sunday school and grace before meals. It's a whole world overview. Now, instead of worshiping the Creator, we worship the climate. We build massive places of worship called shopping centres. We eat, we drink, we marry. And in that same movement of secularization, we've moved towards an intolerance. Because I think deep down, people know that some of their moral, ethical, and life choices are not so good.
Almost everybody, if they're given a choice early enough, will choose God that right way. The problem is the system on earth knows that. So the priest class in Christianity or Islam or Judaism, many of it, most of it's bad priests, bad churches who know the power's there, know people are looking for God, know they're seeking. So they're there basically to get the power from you instead of you basically transcending spiritually. And so that's why Christ talked about the relationship with God is personal.
Yes.
And the kingdom of God is within us. The New Agers go, oh, you are God. No, kingdom of God is within us. We're made in God's image. We have the potential to know God, to interface with God. That's worship God. And then through that, begin to transcend to a higher consciousness, interfacing with God, not God, but with God, and then part of God.
It was just a bunch of confusion, right? But he's at his level of masonry, whatever that level is. But simply put, man, the idea is that is that you to become God, transhumanism, right? And that's what the serpent was spitting to Eve. transhumanism. Okay? And the same
That's right.
idea
That's right.
is being pushed by the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. It's transcending, right, the human body. But that transhumanism is objective. But transcending this terrestrial plane, all right, that's for the hopeful elect. That's for the nation of Israel. Those are the true sons of God, starting with the 144. That's why they're going to receive extraterrestrial bodies in the kingdom of heaven. That's
right.
what Esau's trying to do via left-hand side witchcraft and divination through the spiritual demon Satan. And he's gotten all his stooges to beguile the world into doing the same thing without knowing they're doing it, or whether they know or don't know. Okay, so just a little bit more.
So the gift is to see good. Like in that, I do think that's the trick, because no one needs a tutorial on evil. It's all around us. It's super obvious. It no longer disguises itself. Abortion for the sake of abortion. Like, what is that? It's human sacrifice. It's just Canaanite. And the DNC doing abortions inside of
completely for the sake of abortion, not to improve the life of the girl or she's a 14-year-old rape victim. It's just like, no, abortion is inherently good because it's killing a person. That is all out in the open now. Nobody is confused about its existence. What you don't get a lot of is the recognition that good is a more than equal. It's a larger and opposing force. God is bigger than Satan, and you don't get that sense. Like, nobody talks about that. You don't see it. How do you find that?
Yeah, the prophets have been talking about that. Okay,
the
prophets are being put on the back burner, right, for prophecy's sake for now, right? But once the Lord deems that aspect of the prophecy to play out, hey man, like the scriptures say, then they're gonna know that a prophet was among them. Okay.
So many people purposely get turned off by the system by going to a church, whether it's Catholic, Protestant, any of it. And I'm a very empathic person, so growing up, I would feel at churches and get invited here or there, really creeped out, not by the parishioners, but by the people in the system that are trained. Because
that is for sure.
Gosh, where I feel the strongest demonic energy is in a lot of these big churches and a lot of these big things, because that's where the devil's sending his forces, and it's energetic. And so, but Christ criticized the Pharisees, Sadducees, constantly said, "You go pray up on the hill in front of everybody. You talk about how perfect you are."
Right. So, and then as well, as I'm watching this, I'm also thinking a house divided. Right. So you got so much going on. Right. Esau's divided among himself. All right. People are sobering up from that wine of Babylon, and they're seeing things for what it actually is, because this man's time is up. All right, it's up. The jig is up, so to speak. But you got it, Malak. Then I got 2 more precepts, and that'll be it for me.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, same
this
here.
Is it. I'm going to go to the Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter. I'm going to read 3 verses, right? Because the point came up about nobody's talking about the powers. All right, which is bullshit. This guy talking about it. So this is Deuteronomy 32 and 3. It says, "Because I will publish the name of the Lord, Yahweh." This is italicized here.
Sorry, what verse you at?
Verse 3. 32.
Okay,
KJV. 32. I'm going to read to 5.
Yeah.
All right. So the point is in verse 4. It says, "Because I will publish the name of Yahweh, ascribe ye greatness unto our power, Yahweh Shai." I'm going to say that. And his sons, and the rest of the sons.
Yep. Yeah. How about Shemel Shai?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 4. Here's the point, right? And what we're in a time of namely that black horse, because judgment, and slavery. Yeah. Well, guess what? The slaves are going to be set free. It says Deuteronomy 32. He is the rock. His work is perfect. For all his ways are judgment.
That's right.
A power of truth without iniquity. Just and right is he. See? So Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, man. And
Following in his stead
are his sons. It started with leadership, you know. I'm going to stop there just to make get some competition in my ear. Go ahead, Ray. That's all I got on that. Judgment.
All right, so now going to, I just want to bring this out real quick. I brought out, just asking Chad about serpent worship today, right?
Yeah.
And so it says here, what is serpent worship? Serpent worship, or ophiolatry. So serpent worship or ophiolatry is the veneration of serpents or dragons as divine, enlightened, or powerful beings. The serpent has been both a symbol of wisdom, fertility, and healing, and a symbol of deception, death, and rebellion, depending on which side of the spiritual war one stands. So it says biblical and ancient context. So civilization, Genesis, Hebrew Bible, right? Going into where the serpent was shown, serpent worship, going back to, actually, let's get that real quick. That was Genesis 3, and I'll start at 1. It says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord Yahweh power made. And he said unto the woman, yea, hath Yahweh said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden, right? And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yahweh said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Right? And it says here, verse 4 is the point, and the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. For Yahweh doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, right? Basically partake into left-hand side practices. Okay? Esoteric knowledge and basically serpent worship, right? What they call today Luciferianism. For Yahweh doeth know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And that's what Esau Edom is trying to produce out of himself, is to be a god, really above the Most High himself, right? But he's doing it by the way of MOTB and technology, where the hopeful left will receive that, right, through divine purpose and divine promise. It says here, in Egypt, Cobra Uranus equals symbol of divine kingship. Okay, Babylon and Sumer, Greece, India, Canaan, and Phoenicia. So you're seeing all these different civilizations and empires worship the serpent, have their form of worshiping the serpent, or that serpent religion.
That's right.
Funny enough, that's how you know that was a religion, all right, that was there pre-flood, because all these nations came out of the 3 sons of Noah.
That's right.
So
That's right.
it's not a coincidence that they all have their own form of serpent worship or worshiping the serpent, or even their own form of they have their own story of the flood. Okay,
That's right. That's right.
so it says, so the serpent is an old, or let me just skip down here. It says the biblical view is the serpent is the adversary. And here it says number 3, the hidden esoteric meaning of serpent worship. In occult, Masonic, and New Age teachings, the serpent is reinterpreted as a positive symbol, the bringer of enlightenment, or Luciferic light. Albert Pike in Morals and Dogma connects Lucifer with the light bearer. Right, Isaiah 14. Right, I saw Satan falling down from heaven. I saw Lucifer or Satan. I think it was Lucifer. No, Satan falling down from heaven.
Yeah, Satan there.
Satan there. Yeah, like the same thing.
Ezekiel.
Roughly paraphrasing. So it says, and wisdom, echoing serpent symbolism from ancient mystery schools and occults. This serpent often represents Kundalini, serpent power coiled at the base of the spine. Going to sex magic. Okay. Rising through chakra to enlightenment. Hermes, caduceus, twin serpents spiraling around a staff, symbolizing duality, healing, and balance. That's right. And Gnosticism, that's right. Gnosticism, where the serpent in Eden is praised for giving Adam and Eve knowledge. So that's how they see the story, right?
That's right.
That's how these Edomites that have carnal minds and 2/3 of Israel are rebellious. That's how they see the story. Okay. It says, in essence, serpent worship equals veneration of forbidden illumination, believing that humanity can ascend and become divine through knowledge, energy, and or consciousness. The same lie from Eden. All right. And real quick, it says here modern expressions of serpent worship in the world. Today's serpent symbolism is everywhere, often hidden in plain sight, while most people are unaware. The imagery and philosophy persists through secret societies and esoteric orders, right? Freemason Rosicrucians, theosophy, and then it also goes into medicine and science, right? The caduceus, the two serpents on the staff, the rod of Asclepius, right? Hence going to pharmaceutical, pharmakia, right? It says pulp culture and media, movies, music, videos, and fashion glorify serpent imagery, from logos to tattoos to performance, right? New age and occult spirituality. Serpent or dragon energy is revered in yoga, meditation, energy healing, and Wiccan practices, right? Wiccan goes back into witch. Okay, so also, occult spirituality is plantation Christianity. That's occult spirituality as well. Okay.
That's right.
It says
Guys on there.
Huh?
I said guys on the religion.
Yeah. It says the Kundalini serpent is often awakened through chants or rituals to achieve Christ consciousness. You see? Right? So political and corporate symbolism. Serpent appears in logos, crest, and flags. Okay. Medical institutions, pharma companies. Symbolically, this can represent power, control, or hidden wisdom guiding the elite. Okay, so it goes on, and
wow.
Well, I gotta get this.
Hurt my teeth.
I gotta get this. This is U.S. versus serpent worship in us versus serpent worship in modern America. It says in America, serpent worship doesn't always look like literal temples. Is ideological and symbolic. Modern manifestation of symbol worship or serpent worship. It says Luciferian light ideology, humanism, transhumanism, and occult revival movements all teach that man can become godlike through technology or consciousness. You see? That's what the technocrats are there for. They promise you godlike consciousness and state, all right, through their technology, through the Most High's chip. That's really the Most High's chip. All right. It says entertainment. It says entertainment industry. Serpent motifs and Luciferian themes dominate self-defecation. Damn. Forbidden knowledge, light versus dark inversion. That's right. New Age religion, yoga, energy, awakening, chakra practices directly invoke serpent imagery. Medical and academic symbolism, the caduceus and serpent emblems serve as secular sacred icons secular sacred icons of enlightenment through science. Elite symbolism, it says in high level occult circles, theosophy, Masonic esoteric fraternities, the serpent symbolism symbolizes wisdom, immortality, and the ascent of man. Okay, remember Yahweh Shai was also called the serpent. So, there's a left and a right. That's really what it boils down to. There's a left and a right. And what we're witnessing is a story between the left and the right. Okay, Jacob versus Esau. And what's pronounced through prophecy is that Jacob will win. Okay, Esau's the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth after. Roughly paraphrasing.
That's right.
All right, so my last precept here is going to be actually the precept that you were going to bring out, Malak, in Wisdom of Solomon 13.
The top part.
Yeah, I'm actually going to read down to. I'm going to read down to 11. Actually,
Beautiful. That's right.
The whole thing is pretty good, but
Yeah.
So Wisdom of Solomon 13 and 1. It reads. It says here, anyone who does not know Yahweh Bashem Yashai is simply foolish. Such people look at the good things around them and still fail to see the living power, Yahweh Bashem Yashai. They have studied the things he made, right? But they have not recognized the one who made them, right? This is where this esoteric knowledge is from, okay? Instead, they suppose that the gods who rule the world are fire, wind, or storm, or the circling stars, or rushing water, or heavenly bodies. People were so delighted with the beauty of these things that they thought that they must be gods, but they should have realized that these things have a master, and that he is much greater than all of them, for he is the creator of beauty, and he created them. Since people are amazed at the power of these things and how they behave, they ought to learn from them that their maker is far more powerful. Exactly.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And it says, when we realize the vast beauty of creation is we are as we are learning about the creator at the same time, but maybe we are too harsh with these people after all. They may have really wanted to find Yahweh, Bashim El Shai, but couldn't. Yeah, because the Most High didn't reveal himself unto them. Okay?
Simply put.
As the scriptures say, my people have a zeal of knowledge. They have the zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. Okay?
Yep.
Surrounded by Yahweh's work, they keep on looking at them until they are finally convinced that because the things they see are so beautiful, they must be gods. But still, these people are really have no excuse. If they had enough intelligence to speculate about the nature of the universe, why did they never find the Lord Yahweh of all things? But the most miserable people of all are those who rest their hopes on lifeless things like Esau Edom and his technology, who worship things that have been made by human hands, idols, images of animals, artistically made from gold and silver, or some useless stone carved by someone years ago. You see,
That's right.
and that's the folly of the world today. Okay,
Vanity of vanities.
folly of the world today. Matter of fact, I got to get this as the last precept. Salake.
Good. Bring it out.
Because I had mentioned that that's the folly of this world, and the folly of the world entirely has always been idol worshiping. So Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 8 is come on now. Okay. Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 8, it says, but that which is made with hands is cursed as well it, as he
right.
that made it, he because he made it, and it because being corruptible, it was called God. Okay?
That's right.
For the
Oh,
ungodly
Oh,
and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto Yahweh Bashem El Shai. For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it.
that's right.
It says, therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of Yahweh they are become an abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them, the corruption of life. You see?
That's right.
That's the invention of idols with the corruption of life. It corrupted life, right? It says, for neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. Exactly.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
It says, verse 14, for by the vain glory of men, by the vain glory of men, they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come surely to an end. Just like Nimrod, right? They definitely
That's
made
right.
statues of
That's right.
Nimrod, but that was for his vain glory, deeming him and deify him as a god, right? Or as the son of the Most High. Is that the understanding or doctrine, if you will, of the son of the Most High coming back to restore the order of the sons of God back to that perfection, that perfect order? Guess what? That story was told to all three sons of Noah, but only the spirit of Shem picked it up, right?
That's
And
right.
only the spirit of Shem resonated with it, and then you have the seed, Arphaxad, Peleg, Eber. I'm not saying in the right order, but Eber, Arphaxad, Eber, Peleg, and so on and so forth. Okay, Japhet was doing whatever he was doing. Right, he was kind of just Japhet. But then you had Ham. Ham was into that serpent worship, into that sodomy and that esoteric knowledge of the left hand side. Okay, so what was the point of? Yeah, so yeah, that's basically it. I don't know if you got anything else you want to bring out. A lot.
Yeah, idolatry. Yeah, no, idolatry is straightforward, man. It's all
idolatry.
vanity.
Yep.
You know, so much there, but idolatry.
Yep.
That was the point.
Oh yeah, that was my point.
Powerful.
Is that Khan Slaki was that Nimrod venerated himself as a son of God to restore order.
Yes.
That was my point, right? But it was always written of Yahweh Shai. Okay, so you've had many men, you've had that attempt of being chosen by the Most High as the son of the Most High, deifying yourself. All right, so that's it.
Beautiful. That's it. That's
it.
It ended perfectly.
Yeah. Well, lesson was straightforward and edifying to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. All right. Many will be fooled by this devil, man. So we're going to close up by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Shai, Hashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and have taught us word in truth and sincerity. Peace and mercy to the whole full elect, starting with 124,000 that's pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. Baba Ball, Kwama Sha'Allah, Shalom to the hopeful elect.
Shalom to the hopeful elect.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, actually.